live it up. Live like it's the night of your life. You got the right to live. So go and live it up. Live like it's the night of your life. Let's start the party. Start the party. Live it up. Live like it's the night of your life. You got the right to live. So go and live it up. Live like it's the night of your life. Let's start the party. Start the party. Live it up.
I'm dangerous like tightrope. No talking, not that of a maestro. More like that lizard from Geico. When I lick, you go psycho. Downtown, I'm more famous than Michael. My game, I gave it to Tycho. Gene Simmons up my time. Whoa, got mind control. Damn control. Up to your spine and back down to your toes. Melt you, little mama, like pie mode.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Xander Effect. I'm your host, Xander Dames. Got a few things to chat about today, including in entertainment news. Looks like Kristin Cavallari and Jay Cutler are calling it quits after 10 years of marriage. We'll talk a little bit about that. In sports, Mark Hunt is in the midst of another lawsuit against the UFC and goes off on Dana White. In video game news, looks like 2K has announced a new WWE game, but it's not exactly what you think. Talk a little bit about that. And I have special guest today, Karen Lowe, up-and-coming EDM artist, who I get to chat with a little bit about how she got started in the industry and where she's going from here. But first, here is Makasi and Gregoir Cruz featuring Tima D, Manos and Me, right here on the Xander Effect.
Met you in the summertime, doble diamante en lime. Nunca voy a olvidar ese día. Whole years passed us by, and I wanna relive that night. Ahora estás en mi avenida. No me hagas esperar. Wanna be up in your palm. Estoy parado aquí. You know what I need.
That was DJ Makasi and Gregoir Cruz featuring Tima D's Manos and Me right here on the Xander Effect. In entertainment news, Kristin Cavallari and former Chicago Bears and Miami Dolphins QB Jay Cutler have said goodbye to a 10-year marriage. Kristin Cavallari went on social media and said, quote, "With great sadness, after 10 years together, we have come to a loving conclusion to get a divorce. We have nothing but love and respect for one another and are deeply grateful for the years shared, memories made, and the children we are so proud of. This is just the situation of two people growing apart. We ask everyone to respect our privacy as we navigate this difficult time within our family." Well, it would seem that the love and respect for one another is something that I guess you could leave to define yourselves, because according to docs that TMZ have obtained, it seems that Kristin has filed and said and pretty much alleges misconduct, and she accuses Jay of being guilty of such inappropriate marital conduct as renders further cohabitation unsafe and improper. And you know, it's going back and forth actually, because basically Kristin insinuates that Jay accused her of misconduct. And they're basically saying that any misconduct alleged or implied against her in the complaint for divorce was in response to and or as a result of misconduct on behalf of the husband. Basically, they're both accusing each other of misconduct here. So what that misconduct is exactly, we're not really sure. They're being tight-lipped about that, and they're also claiming irreconcilable differences. And basically, it's very puzzling to many people, because they were in quarantine together in the Bahamas when everything went on lockdown, because they couldn't get a flight back to the States until just recently. So all of this that happened while they were in quarantine. So I mean, for all we know, something must have happened. They must have gotten into a huge blowout with one another, and things must have been said, secrets or maybe extramarital affairs must have been confessed. So many things could have happened during this time that they were in quarantine together that they just decided to just call it quits as soon as they got back to stateside, and that's exactly what's going on. So there you have it, folks. Kristin Cavallari, Jay Cutler, they're all done with their marriage. In other entertainment news, upcoming Star Wars movies and TV's Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian Season 2, and a whole lot more is going to be coming out of Lucas Films, according to Kathleen Kennedy, who basically went on ET and said, now we're really starting to put pen to paper and figure out where we're headed beyond this. I think The Mandalorian is certainly an indication of some of the ideas that are percolating. We'll see. We're having fun thinking about the future. Now, there was a lot of different types of speculation as to whether or not there might be some sort of Kenobi movie for the Disney Plus app. Because so far, The Mandalorian, there was rumors saying that The Mandalorian was actually supposed to be a movie, and they decided to change that idea and make it into a television series instead, which has been very successful. The Mandalorian, I mean, I've watched it start to finish, and the season's just amazing. I mean, it has a little bit of a slow start, but it gets really deep into the storyline, and I really enjoyed it. It was an amazing series to watch, and I'm actually looking forward to season 2 because it left us with a little bit of a cliffhanger in season 1, so looking forward to that. But yeah, there was rumors a couple of years ago, actually, before the Disney app started, about a Kenobi movie starring Ewan McGregor, which basically follows Obi-Wan after he goes into self-isolation, after he goes into self-exile, and follows him through those years of exile. What happened to him shortly after the Clone Wars, what happened to him during the time that his old apprentice became Darth Vader and decided to pretty much take over the galaxy. So many questions were asked during that time, and they were about to do something like that. Even Ewan McGregor kind of hinted at it, but nothing was ever done. So here's hoping that they finally decide to come through and actually do a Kenobi movie, or a Kenobi TV show, because that's going to be pretty cool. Obviously, Marvel is also expanding on their side as well. They're a part of Disney too, so they're expanding on their side, their series. They have a bunch of shows coming out for the Disney Plus app. So it looks like Lucas might actually be trying to follow suit as well. So we'll see what happens in the near future. In other entertainment news, the very popular docuseries on ESPN called The Last Dance, which basically showcases Michael Jordan's final season with the Chicago Bulls. This week, it talked about Dennis Rodman and his antics that pretty much had Jordan always having to practically babysit Dennis Rodman. They recall a time where Dennis Rodman basically went to Vegas, told then coach Phil Jackson that he needed some time off, went to Vegas with his then girlfriend Carmen Electra. And it's a very interesting story because Carmen went on, they interviewed her, and she went on to talk about how basically being Dennis Rodman's girlfriend was an occupational hazard because Rodman has always been a wild person. He loved to party, he loved to do a bunch of things, and basically she said in an interview, she says, quote, "I do remember being in Vegas with him. It was on. The party was starting right away. One thing about Dennis, he had to escape. He liked to go out. He liked to go to clubs. We'd go to his favorite restaurant. Then we'd go to a nightclub. Then we'd go to after hours. It didn't stop. It was definitely an occupational hazard to be Dennis's girlfriend. He was wild." So, basically, when they went on that date, or on that weekend trip, Dennis Rodman was actually supposed to come back. He was given permission to leave under the pretense that he would come back on time for practice. Well, that wasn't the case, and Michael Jordan actually had to physically go to Vegas to get Rodman and bring him back because he hadn't returned on time for practice. And Carmen Electra goes on to say that basically she remembered him banging on the door, and she says, quote, "There's a knock on the door and it's Michael Jordan, and I hid. I didn't want him to see me like that, so I'm just hiding behind the couch with covers on me." And Jordan goes, "Come on, we got to get to practice." So that was a very interesting moment for Carmen Electra, having to deal with Rodman's craziness. But at the end of it all, Jordan and Pippen and the rest of the team did acknowledge the fact of the matter that Rodman did in fact care about the team and about winning championships, because one thing about Rodman that they talked about was that yes, he partied hard, but he also worked really hard. And it was the proof was in the pudding, because when it came for game time, Rodman was there, ready to play. He was there, and was one of Chicago's best players on the team, along with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. So that was a really cool thing, that at the end of it all, regardless of how crazy he is, he was always there for his teammates. In other entertainment news, I had the opportunity to interview up-and-coming EDM artist Karen Lowe, and she has a very interesting story about how she began and how she continues to go forward in this new year and where she's going to be going to in the future. But first, here is Karen Lowe's song "Body" right here on the Xander Effect.
Walking down the avenue, I see a very gorgeous looking dude. There's something about him, I got to stop and look. He made my body show. Yeah, out on the scene tonight, back to some good music. I'm getting a little thirsty, I walk to the bar, and there he is again. Ooh, yeah.
all kind of special concern that she might be trying to stop. She looks so good to me, like a goddess of beauty. Just want the chance to be the one you wanna see. All the time I can spend with you and never wanna know if we can be more than just friends. I will please you, baby, never tease you, lady. All I had to be yours, you know I want it, let me come and get it.
Baby, let me take you home. We won't need no clothes on, so we can feel the heat in between the sheets. Tear it out like a piece, make my heart skip a beat. You say you want it, so come and get it. You say you want it, say you want it, say you need it, say you need it. I'm trying to get it, baby. I know you want it, know you need it, know you need it. Get it, I'll get to you, baby. You say you want it, so you want it, say you need it, say you need it. I'm gonna give it, I know you want it, say you want it, don't need it. Come get it.
So on the Xander Effect today, I have a EDM artist here, Karen Lowe. Karen, how you doing today?
I'm doing just great, man. It's a hot day, beautiful day, but can't go anywhere. Does that suck?
Yeah, that's unfortunately the reality that we're living in right now, and we just have to keep on going forward and see what we could do, right?
Yeah, that's true. Just gotta stay positive. We'll get through this together.
Exactly. So you're on the show. I've actually played a couple of your songs on the show, and man, you got like an incredible talent about you. But you didn't start here in the States. You were actually from Hong Kong originally, and you and your family moved here when you were just 9 years old.
Yep, that's correct. I was born in Hong Kong, the streets of Hong Kong. And I came here when I was about 9 years old. I was in fourth grade. So I kind of still have that Chinese, cultural background where I still speak it fluently. I can read it, I can write it, but not as good as I can speak it.
Oh,
and I can sing in it too.
Nice. That's actually that's a unique talent right there.
Yeah, I was looking into doing something in Chinese soon. I've been talking to my record label. So we're just seeing what's going to happen this year. Hopefully, like you said, we get through this and then we can just move forward with whatever we're doing or whatever we have planned.
I agree. And it basically, you guys moved here when you were 9, but it wasn't until 2 years later that apparently your dad noticed that you had a talent. How did he notice that you had a musical talent? Were you just singing one day and he's like, oh, this girl's got a talent on her. Let's go ahead and put her in front of the camera, in front of a mic.
Well, I would sit next to the radio and I would like start playing music and I'll start singing to whatever artist I listen to. And then I guess he heard me singing along with it. And he said, well, hey, she sounds really good. And I was about 10 years old, 10 or 10 and a half. And then he went and got me a karaoke machine, and he started buying me all these instrumental tracks. So I started singing along with it, and I started recording myself, and then I played back for him, and he's like, oh, yeah, we gotta do something about this talent. And that's how I started.
Nice. And so, like, did you start off with EDM style of music, like dance music, or did you start off with a different type of genre?
Oh no, I started with pop, and then from pop to R&B, and then from R&B to smooth jazz, and then when I hooked up with Q, which is from the 50/50 global music label.
Yeah, sorry, the executive producer of the Xander Effect. Yeah, Quest.
Yeah, exactly, Quest. He wanted to see if I can do EDM music. So I was like, he gave me 2 tracks and then he gave it to me. And then I took it to the studio and I worked on it. And he said, bring it back to me ASAP. So I brought it back to him in less than a week and a half, 2 weeks. Wrote the lyrics to it. There was nothing. He just gave me 2 tracks with no music, no melodies, no nothing. So I just put everything together and then I recorded, mixed it, sent it back to him. And then he said, hey, this is cool. So he offered me a deal.
Nice. But you were also like, you pretty much started, catching people's eyes when you were on a very famous Chinese program. from like television or something like that. They from a Chinese TV station in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
And you had Tia and Tamara Mori from the actresses from Sister Sister do backup dancing for you.
Yes. I was on this channel called it's a channel 18. It's a Chinese channel. I think they still have it on cable. And I was about 15 years old. I think Tia and Tamara, they were about 11. This was back in 1990. Oh my God, I'm telling people my age. Never mind. Oh shoot.
Your secret's safe with us. Don't worry about that.
Okay. And we were I entered a singing contest, and then I got into the final, so I needed some background dancers, and at that time I was with it's a talent agency called Faces International, and Tia and Tamara were with them. They were signed up with them, so I went to that talent agency with my father, and then he signed up with them. He signed me up with them, and then I met Tia and Tamara. And at that time, we were just kids, and we kind of got along, and then we hooked up, and then they're dancers, and they're singers too, but they're more actresses and dancers. Mm-hmm. And so we hooked up. We just did a routine. They performed with me. We became good friends, but we lost in touch, and that was fun. And then after that, I traveled to a couple of years later, graduated from high school, traveled to Japan to do a show called Jesus Christ Superstar, and we performed that show with other Japanese, and they did it in Japanese, we did it in English, and we combined them together, and I did 3 shows there. And after that, I went to Hong Kong and entered a singing contest, actually sponsored by Polygram Records, which is no longer around. I think they got signed up by or taken by another company. And I got second runner up. Yeah, it's a long journey. I can go. Yeah, no.
It also says I'm also to understand that you were also on the second season of America's Got Talent as well. That's pretty much where you really hit the mainstream.
Yeah, it was. It was fun. It was different for me. Actually, learned a lot from being on that show and how they tape a show. I had no idea how they tape talent.
Yeah, because you caught like when you were on the show, you caught the eye of producer Ron Townsend from MTV and Viacom.
Yeah, I did, and that's how my first English album got started. And that album is still on I believe on iTunes and CD Baby, and I had a good time recording that album.
Nice.
It was a long process, so, yeah.
No, that's really cool. Like, you definitely have been through a journey. Are you just strictly a vocalist, or do you play any instruments?
I used to play the piano when I was growing up as a teenager. I still play it, but I mean, I am no Mozart. I can play it. I know all the chord progressions. I know what key I'm in, but like I would write melodies and I will write my melodies and write lyrics when it comes to a song, but sometimes I use the keyboard that helps me, which I have a keyboard at home.
Okay, cool. Well, that's cool. But I mean, you're also, besides a singer, you also produce a lot of your music as well.
Yeah, I helped co-produce the Give It To You Baby, which was my first solo single with 50/50 Global. And I collaborated with CNC Music Factory with Freedom William on his track. That was.
You also did something with DJ Dimmicks.
Yeah. That was out first. That was out in 2008. 2018, and then 2019 I released my solo.
Nice. And then pretty much, we're at this whole like crisis situation, which has been kind of screwing with a lot of people's timetables.
Pretty much. I was looking forward to release 2 singles this year, but I'm waiting for an okay from the record label. I'm thinking about somewhere in June. Hopefully our situation will go back to normal, but I'm praying.
Yeah, it's a really like it's a harsh situation that we're all facing right now, music industry and everything else. So I mean, it's tough, but I mean, you still continue to do music even in quarantine because from what I understand, music doesn't stop.
No, music doesn't stop. You just gotta keep, like, as anybody in any kind of business, you just gotta keep being, positive and stay positive and keep moving forward. Whatever situation you're in, we're all going through it together. We're not alone, so you just have to be strong and just support each other.
Yeah, that's the best message you could actually give to anybody right now at this point. But I'm curious, did you want to just be a singer, or did you have aspirations of doing something else? I mean, because you started at a pretty young age.
Yeah, I actually would like to become a film director, but that's later on down the road.
Are you doing anything on the side to like kind of
I
practice that craft?
was. I was going to actually shoot I was gonna shoot one of those. What do you call those trailers? Movie trailers with a friend of mine. He does like independent films, but right now everything's shut down. So he's like, oh, even his projects are put on hold. He was gonna we were gonna collaborate on something that I wrote. I even wrote a song to it. There's a theme song to this movie that I want to do, but can't do anything because we have
Yeah,
to
because of everything that's going on.
social distance.
Yeah. No, no
Yep.
kidding. That really sucks. I mean, are you also planning on doing a music video for yourself? And if you do, are you planning on directing your own music video?
Actually, I have a friend that can shoot my video. I probably would do that. If I decided to do a music video, I probably would direct it myself because with what's going on, I don't think.
At this point, I would imagine so. But I mean, say like, because this crisis isn't going to last forever. This crisis eventually has to have an end. Once this all ends, I mean, and it's back to business as usual, will you go ahead and direct and create your own music video?
Actually, I would. That would be a great thing for me to do.
Yeah, because I mean, you're going to go ahead and practice both your crafts.
Yeah, after I directed the first video, with "Give It to Me, Baby," it's on YouTube, and I actually had all the ideas. It's just the camera guy that was just helping me put everything, all pieces together. But I was all my ideas of where I want to shoot it, how I want this to be shot, and just all that. It was pretty cool. It was pretty fun experience.
Nice. Well, hopefully we'll go ahead and get to see that very soon. Are you doing any, like, obviously, like I said, you're doing music right now. Are you going to still put out another single coming up very soon?
I'm looking to putting one out in June. That's like summertime, like 2 months from now. Hopefully everything, like businesses open back up where people can go back to normal, go to the nightclub, dance club, movie theater, restaurants where they have live music and all. Yeah, that's what I'm really hoping in June. That'll be a good time to release a single for the summertime and get people in the summer, summer aspiration, summer mood.
Yeah, of course. So are you just focusing strictly on EDM dance type of music, or are you diving into a different genre, or are you going to be just all over the place?
I'm diving into something more R&B, urban, kind of, mixture of EDM and urban, both of them. I think that's what I want to do. I still gotta get permission from the regulator. I can't just release anything I won't.
They're gonna go ahead and hear this anyway. They're gonna be like, "Wait a minute, hold on here. We need to go ahead and put the brakes on this interview right now."
we gotta talk to Cruz. It's not up to me.
Of course, no, that's perfectly understandable. Obviously, so I mean, once this crisis is over, obviously we're gonna see some more music of you. Are we gonna see you in concert anytime soon? I mean, well, once the crisis is over.
Well, actually, Cruz was the record label was supposed to book a 2020 college tour for me this year, and they were gonna do that like early February. They were gonna book it. I guess I'll have like a tour during September through like December of this year.
Mhm.
But since all the colleges are closed, we gotta just see. But yeah, I think the plan is still on, but it won't be 2020. It'll be 2021.
Yeah, at this point, yeah, a lot of things are going to be going on in 2021 at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're definitely going to be going on tour then, more than likely in
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah, like college tour locally here in Cali, in different states too. But they wanted to do more focus on like, you know, in California, and then eventually go to different states, maybe like Texas or other places.
Yeah, because your music is touching everybody worldwide, because that's pretty much what you're looking at right now is just a worldwide audience.
Pretty much. I actually would like to do a tour in Asia, but I mean that's out of question. Like you said, 2021, maybe 2022.
Yeah, right now it's a little bit out of the question right now.
Because the fact that I speak the language, I speak Cantonese Mandarin. You know, me going back there will be a piece of cake for me. It would be no problem.
See, I only know a couple of words in Cantonese. I know like nehoma, nehohoma, you know, things like that.
Nehoma, nehoma.
I know those types of words.
You know what it means?
Yes, I do know what they mean. Yeah, I know Paulo, you know, stuff like that. You know, I mean, I don't, because the thing is, like when I was a kid, my parents took care of a Chinese woman, and so her son. I mean, she was a little bit senile, so her son kind of had to like you know, tell her a couple of words. He kind of like wrote down some basic words to tell her so that way she could understand us a little bit. So she would try to feed us all the time. And so, you know, my parents, they would have to like go ahead and look at her like, no, Mpalo. In other words, we're full, you know, like stop trying to feed us, you know? And so we had to learn that. We had to learn Nehoma means, you know, I'm a good person, you know.
No. Nehoma means how are you?
Oh, how are you? Yeah, Nehohoma is I'm a good person. That's
Nehohoyan.
Nehohoyan, yeah. Nehohoyan. Okay, see, dude, it's been years. Don't go ahead and judge me. It's been years since I freaking learned this stuff. So
I know it just sounds cool. You do. It sounds so cute. I'll teach you another one. If you want to ask somebody, have they eaten dinner yet? They ask them. They sit up on there.
How's that again?
They sit up on me.
I'll take your word. I'll take your word for it.
Can't say that, Jared.
I'll say. You know what? I'll go ahead. I'll learn it eventually. Trust me. I actually. The thing is, I love learning different languages. I really do. That's one of my biggest passions is learning different languages. You know, I've learned. You know, my thing is I pick like it's almost like a smorgasbord. And I'm picking like little bits to taste, you know, this dish. You know, that's how I do with languages is I pick little things here and there, you know, like Russian, you know, I know certain words in Russian, you know, I know что я знаю, you know, ты знаешь, diabichki, you know, stuff like that. I know like Italian, io parlo poco italiano, you know, it's very similar to Spanish, you know, which I'm fluent in. So I learned different languages but definitely Cantonese is a very difficult language. That one, Armenian is another very difficult language because I mean you have a lot of different dialects and all of that. So, but I love a challenge, especially when it comes to languages. So I definitely would love to learn that eventually.
Mandarin isn't hard to learn actually. The Mandarin
really?
is easier for you. Yeah, like you say Nehoma in Cantonese is how are you. So in Mandarin say Ni hao ma.
Ni hao ma. Okay. Yeah, it's similar, but it's not.
It's not, but it's written the same way, but it's just pronounced a little different.
Interesting. It's almost like French, Italian, and Spanish. They're all very similar, but it's pronounced differently. Like "Como ça va?" "Como ça va?" is "How are you?" How are you in French, and in Spanish is "Como está?" You know, ¿Cómo está? You know. Yeah, exactly. You know, "Ça va bien," you know, "Ça va bien." So it's like that's French for I'm fine. So it's a lot of similarities, it's a very, very, and then in Italian, it's come stai. So it's like, come stai, como sta va, como sta, like you got those three and they all sound similar to each other. So it's crazy how these languages are all like very similar, but yeah, that's why it's easier for me to learn all these are like the French and Italian ones.
So you speak fluently in Spanish?
Yes, I do.
Oh, cool. Sí, señor.
Yep, exactly. We like I always yeah. So we're getting off track here. We're talking about languages. We're getting off track here. Are you going to be? I'm curious. Well, I mean, speaking of languages, are you going to be putting out a single in your in a different language? Are you going to be putting out in Chinese or Cantonese or Mandarin or anything like that?
Actually, the next single I was thinking about putting a couple of lines, Chinese lyrics in my next song. I'm working on that right now. I recorded in English already, but I wanted to pluck how like Justin Bieber did a song with Despacito with the other Latin artists.
Yeah.
A couple of lines in English, a couple of lines.
Despacito, that one.
Yeah, that one. I want to do something like that because I think that would really be cool for the Asian community to listen to, as for other people too. I think it would be something different. I don't think that ever had taken place in the United States for the Chinese American artists singing something in Chinese, but still singing something in English, but just saying a couple of words in Chinese to describe the meaning of the song so that the Chinese listeners can understand it.
Nice. I'd be interested in definitely hearing something like that. That'd be very interesting to listen to. I'm curious.
I think. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I'm curious. Going back really quick to the current crisis that's going on right now. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have been blaming a lot of Asian Americans for what's going on. Have you been dealing with a lot of that stuff?
I knew you were gonna ask me that question.
I was just curious about that because I mean I know that a lot of people have been a lot of Asian Americans have been dealing with a lot of scrutiny, being blamed for what's going on right now. Have you been dealing with anything like that?
Yeah, man. I went to a Target a couple of times, grocery shopping, and I would walk down the aisle with my boyfriend or with my daughter, and then I get stared at. I was like, hey, I mean, they're mad at the Asians, but he's like, no, and not every single one of them is involved with this.
Yeah,
I'm not the cause of it. I'm not the cause of it, but it's bad.
It's so ignorant though, because everybody's like saying, it's like when this virus first hit, the United States, people didn't want to like eat any Chinese food or anything like that. And it's like, dude, it's not like they freaking carry the virus. I mean, come on, like it's the dumbest thing in the world. It's the most ignorant thing in the world. They're not carrying the virus. The virus is in a different country that's being carried by people that got infected there. It's not like they were born with the virus. That's the dumbest thing in the world. So
people being ignorant, and yes, I do get people staring at me and giving me dirty looks, and I just look at them like, yeah, whatever. I just start walking.
Well, definitely be careful out there, man, because you got a lot of like really stupid people that do stupid things and say even stupider things. So just definitely be careful. So other than that, looking forward to to your upcoming tour, which is going to be really cool. How can people stalk you on social media?
Oh, actually, they could check. Well, they can go check on Spotify because all my songs are on Spotify, and also they can go on Instagram. The Instagram is Karen, the lady filled with love. Kind of a weird name, but I just thought of it. That's easy to remember.
Nice.
Should I repeat that again?
Yeah, go ahead and repeat it again because I think you cut off a little bit. What was it again?
On the Instagram, you can find me. It's Karen, the lady filled with love. Filled is with ED. So Karen, the lady filled with love.
Nice. Cool. Well, then you know what?
Remember.
Awesome. So they'll go ahead and find you on Spotify and on Instagram. Karen Lell, thank you so much for being on the Xander Effect. I appreciate your time. Make sure that you are very safe out there during this crisis. And I look forward to listening to more of your music coming up very soon.
Thank you very much, and you take care out there too. I know it's hot.
Oh God, yeah, I'm melting right now, but it's all good. hopefully, I'll be able to breathe again very soon.
Yep, and yeah, without wearing a mask too.
Exactly. All right, Karen, we'll talk very soon. Thanks again.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much, Carolo, for being on the Xander Effect. Looking forward to having you on the show again very soon. In sports, looks like Mark Hunt is actually still very pissed off at the UFC. He has decided to file another lawsuit against them, and in this lawsuit, he's going to bring in the Ali Act. So, basically, he's still very upset at Dana White for the way that he's treating fighters, and he goes on. This is the MMA Junkie. He basically goes on and is talking about how, quote, this is what he said. He said, quote, "I know how they do it. That's why we're in a couple of these lawsuits. It's a sad thing to see these fighters coming through. Young fighters thinking they can get some money, some good money. They just fall to the side like the rest of them. When you get the champions asking for more money, you know there's something wrong. When a guy like Stipe Miocic or the other champions ask for more money, he's the champion of this company. Why is he asking for more money? Something to think about. These bosses and guys that own the company, these blank, like Dana will say all this. We've got to do this and that. All these things will work out. At the end of the day, he's just a grub. He's a thieving little grub. That's all he is." Very strong words from Mark Hunt, and who hasn't actually hasn't been in any fights since 2018, but he is very much upset with Dana White. There's a lot of things that Hunt's been very vocal about, in the past regarding the UFC, and one of them, like, he already had a lawsuit against Brock Lesnar. Because Brock Lesnar apparently, in the lawsuit, he said, Mark Hunt was upset that he lost against Brock Lesnar because I guess for substance abuse or something like that. That was what some of the rumors were about. But right now he's very much upset with the UFC, especially because of the pay. The fact of the matter that these fighters, they put their lives on the line, their bodies on the line, and for very little pay apparently. He goes on to say most of the fighters are just scared to talk about it. A lot of the fighters are scared to speak up about it. You're actually fighters, not just in the octagon, but everywhere. To get guys like this to come around to kiss ass, that these blank guys like Dana White, it's a joke. He's just a joke. He's an idiot. Again, very strong words. Mark Hunt is looking, he's out for blood right now. He does say, however, that he has been out of the game for since 2018, but he is looking to get back into boxing. So he's going to go into boxing when he, once he comes back, once obviously this crisis is over, once he comes back. And then after boxing, he's considering going back to MMA. So who knows what's going to happen there. We'll just see what happens, especially with this whole lawsuit that's pending against the UFC and Dana White. In other sports news, NBC Sports' Peter King went on Dale and Keefe, and basically he talked a little bit about what Aaron Rodgers' feelings were towards this unexpected draft when they went ahead and they drafted the Utah quarterback Jordan Love, and basically King went ahead and gave his opinion as to what Aaron Rodgers might be feeling, and he says, quote, "I'll tell you what he thinks. He's pissed off. Wouldn't you be? You realize that when the Green Bay Packers have been sitting there for the last 4 drafts and Aaron Rodgers said, give me a weapon, get me some receivers, and the Packers have never, unless you consider Ty Montgomery, who was switched to running back after being a college receiver at Stanford, they have not picked a wide receiver in the top 100 picks in the last 4 drafts, when they have had a significant need in the last 2 years. Now, they have picked 62 tonight, and they will pick a receiver, I would guess. This was out on Friday, obviously. So, he's got a point, because at the end of the day, and I've been saying this for the longest time when it comes to the Green Bay Packers, they need a good O-line, they need a good offense, they need to protect their quarterback, and they need receivers that will get out into the field a lot faster. You know, you have Devontae Adams out there that did an amazing job last season, but he can't be the only one that's out there. The Packers management, I just don't get it, why they have an opportunity. They have good numbers as far as draft picks are concerned. They have an opportunity to be able to get, you know, some good wide receivers, some good offensive linemen that are going to be able to protect the quarterback. Why they don't go ahead and capitalize on something like this, that is beyond me. That makes no sense whatsoever. So who knows? Who knows what they're thinking, and who knows what their strategy is going to be coming into the 2020, possibly 2021 season of the NFL. In other sports news, looks like the Patriots are going quarterback crazy after the 2020 NFL draft. So the Patriots right now are in need of a good quarterback now that they've lost Tom Brady to the Buccaneers, and they might actually be looking for a better tight end now that they've lost Gronkowski as well to the Buccaneers, which, again, that's kind of a weird one myself, to be honest. I don't understand that one. But it would seem that the Patriots actually, they didn't draft any quarterbacks during the 2020 draft, and it was only until after the draft was over, hours later, they started trying to grab whatever undrafted quarterbacks that were left, pretty much. So they went ahead and drafted a few of them, actually. The first quarterback signing came in Louisiana Tech's Jamar Smith. He agreed to his deal on Saturday. Then they added another quarterback, former Michigan State signal caller Brian Lewerke. So that's another one that they grabbed as well. But the question does remain as to why they did not go ahead and pick up a quarterback during the draft. Well, according to Bill Belichick, he says, quote, "If we feel like we find the right situation, we'll certainly draft them. We've drafted them in multiple years, multiple points in the draft. Didn't work out last 3 days. That wasn't by design. It could have, but it didn't." So basically, the way they look at it is like they didn't feel like it was the right time to, or any of the quarterbacks. They weren't really feeling any of the quarterbacks that were on the draft, so that's the reason why they decided to look for undrafted players and go from there. So we'll see. I mean, Belichick is considered one of the best coaches in NFL history, so it's more probable that Belichick has that much confidence that regardless of what draft or regardless of what quarterback they decided to draft, whether it be early or late or after, they'll be able to mold this quarterback to becoming one of the greatest as well. So we'll see what happens in this NFL season. Coming up next in video game news, looks like WWE 2K Games has made an announcement of a brand new game for the WWE, but it's not exactly what you think it is. Actually, it's a little interesting game, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But first, here are the Pondhawks, Fire Eyes, right here on the Xander Effect.
You're on the edge. Nice.
Hey, this is Dovley, and you're listening to Xander Dames on the Xander Effect.
Instantly, I can see all the colors of your spectrum follow me. Yellow, blue, red and green, trails of light surrounding me. We were once separated. Now look what we created. I really like what you are giving, bouncing off your walls, I'm living all caught up inside this feeling. You got me stuck inside your prism. I really like what you are giving, bouncing off your walls, I'm living all caught up inside this feeling. You got me stuck inside your prism. Instantly, I can see all the colors of your spectrum follow me. Yellow, blue, red and green, trails of light surrounding me. We were once separated. Now look what we created. Prism. Just you and me. Just you and me. We stand up in the colors, wrapped inside of one another. Just you and me. We stand up in the colors, wrapped inside of one another. A prism. I really like what you are giving, bouncing off your walls, I'm living all caught up inside this feeling. You got me stuck inside your prism.
That was Dovley's Prism right here on the Xander Effect. In video game news, as promised, 2K Games has announced that, well, obviously we knew last week that 2K announced that WWE 2K21 will not have a game this year for the consoles, but they also said that they were going to have an announcement today, Monday, as to the future of WWE 2K games, and they did. As promised, they came through to announce a brand new game called WWE Battlegrounds. Now, they have a trailer for the game. It's on YouTube. You can check it out. And the game, pretty much, for lack of a better word, it seems very cartoony. It's an unrealistic game as opposed to the WWE 2K games and everything, how they try to make it as real as possible, like pretty much making the characters look very lifelike, the moves, the drama, everything very lifelike. This game is very cartoony. That's the best way I could describe it. It's very cartoony. the characters have superpowers apparently in the middle of the match. It's almost like Mortal Kombat mixed in with a little bit of NFL Blitz, and it's just very, very cartoony. That's the only way I can describe it. You guys need to check out the trailer for the new game. It's supposed to come out this fall. Obviously, more than likely it'll come out with one of the brand new consoles that are also scheduled to come out. So there you have it. 2K Games does have a WWE 2K, but it's not a 2K21. It's called WWE Battlegrounds. So make sure you check that out. And again, it's a very interesting game. Not something that you would expect, but I'm assuming that probably cutbacks may have had something to do with it, because it seems like a type of game that's very kind of put together last minute. So you never know. That's the news in case you haven't heard it. Thank you so much for listening. And remember to continue to stay safe out there. We're still in this crisis. We're in this together. And trust me, this too shall pass. And remember, music always, always heals all. We'll see you next time.
Live it up. B. Taylor. Flow Rida. Live it up. Live like it's the night of your life. You got the right to live. So go and live it up. Live like it's the night of your life. Let's start the live it up. Let's start the live it up. Live like it's the night of your life. You got the right to live. So go and live it up. Live like it's the night of your life. Let's start the live it up. Let's start the live it up.
I'm dangerous like tightrope, no talking.
Hey, the Xander Effect is powered by 50/50 Global Music Inc., BMG Bertelsmann Group, and Sony Music The Orchard, in association with Art 19 Media Group.
Summer goodbye to your clothes. I got you exposed on